Hey everyone, it's WHM Bricks back with another video, and today we have another baseplate mock. Now this mock isn't necessarily on an exact baseplate, it is more of a freeform, but it is around the size of maybe one or two baseplates. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this is a republic base on a forest planet. It's not necessarily a specific planet or specific base that we see in the Clone Wars or in the prequels. It's really just takes to full extent the genre of building that was really popular back in 2013. This is where there are tons of Clone Wars sets coming out, and everyone was just building clone bases and putting together all that kind of thing. But a lot of those mocks weren't super detail oriented. They were more size oriented or vehicle oriented or minifig oriented. So what I've done here is I've scaled that kind of idea down and added in the detail portion of it. So what you have here is droid forces attacking a Republic base, and you have the 501st and Anakin Skywalker fending them off. So this mock was partially something that me and my brother really wanted to do because we really wanted to bulk up our light gray collection, but it also allowed us to have a lot of fun with lights. And as you can see, or maybe you can't see at the moment, there are lights throughout this mock. Right here you have Anakin's lightsaber, and it is a Light My Bricks light up lightsaber. And through this, I am able to bring a lot more life to this mock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through all the different features and stuff, and then we're going to go into dark mode, as I am calling it, or I'm going to turn off all the lights in my room, in my studio, and then I'm going to show you a quick cinematic of that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. So the droids are attacking, and as they attack, the 501st are rolling out a fighter tank. Now, this was not a canon set, as many of you guys know. This is something that's been seen in like Battlefront most prominently. And I really wanted to include it here because it's a smaller vehicle that fits through this doorway without taking up a ton of space. So you have Commander Appo in the helm there. This is actually a custom fighter tank that me and my brother designed a while back. This is building on the base of the new 2020 fighter tank and then redoing the top section. And I really like the way it turned out. I'm really happy with the way like the eyes kind of look and the way it all just works together a little bit better and a little bit more cleanly and accurately than the Legos did. Behind them, you have some troops lining up to take action. You've got a jet trooper and that kind of thing. And then on either side of this road, you have a armory and a landing pad. On this landing pad, you have a V-wing taking off, preparing for battle. So this V-wing is actually a custom V-wing that I found on Rebrickable. I highly recommend it. I'll link the instructions down in the description below. They're like $8. But it is nice because it's much smaller and more compact than brick vaults, because brick vaults, they make it minifigure scale. It's all got to line up perfectly, and theirs is amazing, don't get me wrong. But for a mock this scale, it's much nicer to have something a little bit smaller and compact. So this viewing really fills that role nicely, and I was thinking of putting like a Jedi Starfighter on this landing pad, But I decided on the B-Wing because I had always kind of wanted a ship like this and was excited to finally be able to buy the parts to build one. So coming around to this side, you see the armory. Now this is kind of like a mobile building. It's the kind of thing you saw maybe on Anaxis in Season 7 of the Clone Wars. This is something that we got some ideas for and then kind of create our own way of depicting it. So you have these doors that can move using these things. They don't work very well, so I've set them up in a position that looks like they're closing after this clone runs out after getting his blaster and maybe helmet and some armor. You have some crates in the front, and then here you can see there is a water leak and some water pouring out. On top, you have another jet trooper as well as a sniper up there, sharpshooter, whatever you want to call him. And then on top here, you have the radio dish or something of that nature. Inside, you'll see you have blasters in different racks. Some that I built out of my own pieces, some that are just Legos. You have rocket launchers. You have some blasters for heavy troopers. Then you have some crates for grenades, thermal detonators, and that kind of sort. You have some detailing and all of those little ins and outs. You also have a light on top, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But that is the mock in its full in daylight. That is how I have created basically a full clone base to my best of my abilities. It took a lot of time and a lot of different techniques to come up with this and to be able to work with the limited gray parts collection I have. But where I really had a lot of fun was in the foliage out front. I had just built Endor and had a ton of foliage parts. So I was really able to be creative and think of new ways to maybe do the ground. So instead of just leaving empty studs, I covered the entire thing with these 3-leaf pieces. And then went on top of that. It just gave it a more natural feel, and I really like the way it turned out. Here you have this small tree that I designed. It took a lot of effort, and it didn't really come together till the very end when I was able to bring it together. But trees are not something that's easy or something that really works super well with Lego, so it does take some practice and some getting used to of using all these more special parts. But now, without further ado, let's turn the lights out and walk you through how it looks. Okay, so there you have it. This is the fully lit up mock. You can really see Anakin's lightsaber, very blue and very bright. It looks very nice as the rest of the clones are kind of in shadow. Something that would be really cool to do in the future is to maybe add some red lights with their blasters, because that would allow for some more color where the clones are. But in the base, as you can see, the few lights that we have really light it up. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I feel like it's very realistic to have 2 bigger lights over top that really bring out the full lighting. And it's a little bit more harsh, not very warm or kind of like comforting. It's more just to light it up. And then you have 2 landing lights here, which I'd love to get some blinking ones for, but I did end up deciding on the yellow because they would be more useful in the future. Now, coming around, you can also see that inside of the barracks, it's also lit up. And this is really a more warm light, maybe a little bit cheaper. It doesn't look quite as elegant and as bright because it's a mobile base. It's not meant to look really, really nice. It's also for clones and troops. So it really captures that feel as well. So I think the way the lighting overall of the base turned out really nicely. I'm really happy with it. As you can also see, there are wires running around, but I am able to hide them in a way that it looks maybe a little bit more natural and a little bit more realistic. But that is the finished mock. That is it. I'm really happy with the way it turned out and with the way the lights look. I think it's really cool to be able to capture this mock in the way that we have, because in a lot of cases you don't get it in the dark. You aren't able to show it that way, and I think it's brings a lot more life to it now that I have. It's also super cool to be able to bulk up my lighting collection, because now I'll always have a blue lightsaber and be able to light up more of my mocks. So thank you to everyone who did enjoy this video. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. But without further ado, let's hit the outro. Okay, I hope you guys did enjoy this one. I had a lot of fun with this mock, so I hope you guys did too. I think it really brought it to life when I added the lights, and I really recommend it for any of your guys' mocks. If you're ever looking to maybe make your mocks more interesting or take them to the next level, lighting is a key factor. I now realize that after adding lights to Endor and now to this. So in the future, I'd like to light up more of my mocks. I actually have another video coming out really soon. This next one is not super big, but it is another mock that is, I think you guys are really going to enjoy. It is a small, about maybe a quarter of a base plate, but it makes up for that small scale in height. So if you do want to watch that video, please remember to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any future videos. And without further ado, this is WHM Brick signing off. We'll see you all guys next time. Goodbye.